Now turn up.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Herc here, and I'm back with episode 2 with Ask Herc. And again, just like last week, I got 5 questions that I got to ask about, and I'm going to go ahead and answer them. So, first one is, purchased a SanDisk SSD 240GB today. Had no intentions of making it my boot drive since I don't have enough space for everything. So just wanted to copy the important programs over to the SSD that I want to run quickly. Had to use my CD-ROM SATA cables as the inside of my PC is absolute mess, and I couldn't see spares or a bracket to attach the SSD to, so it's pretty much just hanging there. Use this management to create a new volume. Use the HW Info program to check and make sure I had the correct SATA cables, which I did. It says it's SATA 6GB per second, which actually, I just want to intervene. It should be gigabit per second, not gigabytes per second. From which I gather means SATA 3, so no problems there. Use ASSD benchmark software to check the speed that my SSD was running at. It came back with terrible results when I tested. I'm not great at reading and understanding this info, but from what I can gather from other results, mine are very bad. I tried running Fortnite to see the startup speed, and it's literally just the same as my HDD speed or hard drive speed. Am I wrong to just drag and drop folders to the SSD? Should I be using a program to transfer folders and programs between drives? Regardless of that though, the speed tests are clearly still bad. Any help will be much appreciated in getting this SSD to start programs up more swiftly. Whew, and that's from Woods. Alright, Woods, so first things first, you said that you purchased it. I don't know if this is brand new or used. Either way, even if it is used, you should still do a fresh format. And if you really want to make sure that it's working great, you want to do I guess you could call it a long format or a non-quick format, and that way you can make sure that it's completely fresh. All right, so that's one thing I would check for. Since you're not using this as your boot drive, it sounds like you're just copying over Fortnite to your SSD, and it works, but it doesn't work effectively, because if your boot drive is on your hard drive, then it's your registry settings and keys and information is going to be kind of conflicted when it's trying to pull from your hard drive and not your SSD, especially if you copied it over instead of moving it over, meaning you have a copy on your hard drive and a copy on your SSD. So when you go ahead and start Fortnite, it's going to just pull from the hard drive instead of pulling for the SSD. Now there are programs up there like Ease US Backup and Recovery that can make transferring data much seamless, but just something to think about. And never ever just copy folders like programs over. Now you can copy like your Word documents and pictures and music and things of that nature, but trying to copy folders over is a no-go because it's just going to mess up your registry in the long run. That's just my 2 cents. But first things first, I would do a clean format, and if it is used, it may just be bad. Since it's hanging there, that's not really going to do much because there's no moving parts in the SSD, so that's nothing to worry about there. So clean format is my recommendation. Next, we have, should I install the Intel Management Engine software? Is it a good idea to upgrade the version I already have, or leave it alone? I'm using the Lenovo Legion Y520 laptop. Alright, so if you haven't really noticed any problems in your laptop, then I mean it's really no big deal. It doesn't hurt to upgrade, it doesn't hurt not to upgrade if you haven't noticed any problems. Me personally, I always love upgrading. It's just what I like to do, because before I upgrade anything or install new drivers or a new update, I always set a restore point. So if stuff starts failing, I can just restore back to that point before I did the upgrade or the install, and I'm good to go. So the management engine software pretty much makes your CPU smarter. It kind of calculates what's it needs to do in the background while you're not using your computer. So, I mean, it is a good idea to upgrade that software or install the software if it's not already pre-installed, but you don't really need to. It's not going to hurt anything, especially if you haven't seen any performance loss. And that's from Packers fan 036. Good luck in August. Next, we have, okay, so here are my specs. i7 6700, GTX 970, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, Asus Z170, and an 850 power supply. I was wondering if my PC is performing like it should. When I play Fallout 4, I have the usual 50 to 60 frames when just exploring the WoW and a constant limited 60 inside. But as soon as I go to the city, my frame rates fluctuate anywhere between 40 and 60. This is on a mix between high and ultra at 1080p. The same thing goes for The Witcher. I get anywhere from 45 to 60 frames per second. And anywhere in the game, mix of high, ultra, 1080p. Is my PC performing how it should? Well, see Bogus 123. One thing that you definitely want to consider is your monitor. What kind of monitor do you have? Because if you have a 60 hertz monitor, then it's only going to try to pull up to or near 60 frames per second to give you that smooth gameplay. Especially if you have something like VSync on. I'm not sure if you have that on your settings or not, but it's going to be a constant 60 frames per second. Now, your specs are definitely more than recommended for Witcher 3 and especially Fallout 4. But of course, if you're going into a crowded area, the frame rates are going to drop. Also, another thing you want to consider is what's your utilization like? Now, I don't see this as a bottleneck whatsoever. However, if you have something else running in the background that's causing more CPU that the game could use, then that may cause a bottleneck. Or if you have something that's using the GPU more than the game can use, then obviously that will also cause a bottleneck as well. So look at your utilization and also your temperatures. Check that out as well. If you don't have a fan curve already, using something like MSI Afterburner, that would definitely help you get a good temperature. Especially setting a custom fan curve. Like if you hit 80 degrees Celsius, then you can set a higher fan curve and then turn down the fan curve once you're in the 50 to 60 range. So just something to look at. Temperatures can definitely play a part in poor game performance. Next, we have my hard disk had two partitions, D and E, which got corrupted and my computer was not booting up. I had to delete those two partitions to boot up my PC. I had some important data in the partitions which I would like to recover. I tried using Recuva to scan the unallocated space and it's showing all the files, but I am not able to recover using a free version. Are there any freeware there that can be used to recover data from an unallocated space? Well, send Herc. I recommend, just like I said earlier, to use Ease backup and recovery. It's the number one, really. And there's I believe there's a 2 gigabyte limit that you can actually recover, which is awesome. So just something to think about. Now, make sure that you don't write over any of the data. I mean, it still could be recoverable, but the more chances you write over that data, the less chances that you can recover it back. So Ease US recovery. Plus, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it should be $19.99 for the home version. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I'm checking it now as we speak. I should have checked it before I even started this video, but I'm going to tell you that the data recovery is definitely not $19.99. It's $70, but it is worth it. I will say that it is worth it if you have precious data that you don't want to lose. It's kind of like insurance, you know. You you want to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So just my 2 cents. But the free trial does allow you to at least recover 2 gigabytes worth of data. Lastly, we have, okay, I have a PC here with an AMD CPU. I want to upgrade my PC. Here's a list of what I'm buying. i5-8400, motherboard, one with socket 1151, a new case, DDR4 RAM, 2 sticks, CPU cooler, and Windows on USB. Now, I want to know what to precisely where and how saving my files and using a new Windows key, etc. Whew. I know how to build a PC, but just when to build it, what to do, my hard disk, etc. I don't edit this stuff, I just copy and paste. And this is from Krusty Crap. All right, Krusty, so first things first here. I'm looking at your listing and you're trying to get the newest coffee lake, which, you know, it's understandable. You want the latest and greatest. I recommend that you stick with AMD and go the Ryzen route and get a 2400 or 2600, something like that. Or you can just go old school and get a 1500 or 1400. I'm saying old school like it's been out for years and years when it's only been last year. Anywho, that's just something to think about. The socket that you're trying to match up with your CPU is not going to work. You're going to need to get a Z370. All right, a Z370. And since you're getting a non-K CPU, getting a CPU cooler is really not necessary, as the stock cooler is designed to work with non-K CPU. So by getting that cooler, you're just pretty much wasting money, in my book. All right, as far as your files and other things goes, if you're keeping the same hard drive, then the only thing that you really want to do is back up, maybe create an image of what you already have. So like I said earlier, again, using EASUS data recovery allows you to create an image, and then you can use that image once you reinstall Windows. If you already have like something like Windows 7 and you're upgrading to Windows 10, which I'm assuming, you can do an upgrade and keep all your files and data. But again, I always recommend the backup, maybe to like a 1 terabyte hard drive or something like that. All right, well, that's pretty much all I got. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. As always, subscribe to the channel. Got more content coming on the way. And if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter at Herc08, or leave a comment below. I will either answer it or get to it in my next video. It's your boy Herc08. I'm out of here. Peace. Don't touch mine.